The Saints gonna tank for the nuts?
Tank for the nuts. We'll have to come up with a better line than tank for the nuts. All aboard the nuts bus.
Light it.
Welcome to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Frosty Fusions with flavors like Caramel Crunch, Oreo Brownie, and Pop-Tart Strawberry. Oh, it's back, baby. Love that music, man. I love watching Mark Ingram dance to the Triple Option music. Hey, welcome to episode 1 of year 2. Year deuce of the Triple Option. Rob Stone, Mark Ingram II, the coach, Urban Meyer here with you. Boys, we're back, man. So good to see you guys. You know what else is back? College football's here, man. We finally get to talk about games.
Let's go.
Kind of. We've got some other stuff to talk about. That program in Ann Arbor has been
not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, they've been creating some news lately. As always, thanks for joining us. Remember, please rate, subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media. You can find us at 3X Option Show. New episodes coming away every Wednesday on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts. So we're going to fire up season 2 with some week 0 talk. The best college football player in the land, Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith. He joins us this week, and we're going to talk the mood of the Big Four conferences and Notre Dame as we head into the season. But we begin with the long-awaited news surrounding the suspensions and the fines and everything that is the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. And boy, there is a lot to digest courtesy of Ann Arbor, and it finally came down. So, Coach, I know we've been talking about this for a while, and man, there is a lot. We're going to talk about legacies. We're going to talk about what actually went down and how it impacts college football and the NCAA as a whole. So we begin with any given Saturday. We're looking at the moments that make college football what it is. We're going to start off the field. Finally, that investigation that started all the way back in 23 around the national championship season of Michigan. They finally received their sanctions in relation to that Connor Stallion sign stealing scandal during that national championship run. Fine. That's, I guess, the big news, right? Could be up to $30 million. And if that's the big news, that tells you how little this punishment really is. Sharon Moore, the current head coach, given an additional 1-game suspension next season and 2-year show cause. We'll talk about the real bite that is show cause. You can snicker somewhere off camera. Michigan, remember, they self-suspended him, if you will, for 2 games this season. The big one, Jim Harbaugh, former head coach, now head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, a 10-year show cause. That's on top of an additional show cause that he already had. Connor Stallions, 8-year show cause. Denard Robinson, 3-year show cause. Program put on 4-year probation. That's it. That's it. So if you kind of reflect back to the old days, Coach, if you will, you look at what they did and what came down. This probably would have been, by most accounts, a 2-year postseason ban, a loss of a number of scholarships. But again, the NCAA has kind of moved away from punishing players that weren't involved during those infractions, which I'm in favor of. But then the question is, how do you really, how do you really dole out proper punishment? So let's get to the Harbaugh factor.
Wins.
Yeah, wins and titles and Heismans, and I don't think that's fair, but what is fair? We'll get to that in a second. Let's start with this quote, and this will really trigger things, and I know, Coach, it's triggered a lot of high-ranking people in the college football world, including yourself. This is from the infractions report, okay? Coach Jim Harbaugh ran a program that was largely dismissive of rules compliance. Wow. There was little, if any, emphasis on following the rules. To the contrary, his program saw compliance as the enemy, made their own decisions regarding interpreting rules to their benefit, or outright committed rules violations. Again, Coach, that was in the infractions report. That's not from an Ohio State or Michigan State fan. This is from the people that were working on this investigation. What does this say about what Harbaugh's legacy will eventually be at Michigan?
I have to sit up for this one now. So just in a little context, we were covering at Big Noon, we were covering the Wolverines, arguably one of the top football teams in recent history. We all witnessed the national championship. And I remember when this started hitting, If you remember, I was the one guy on the set that kept pushing back and saying, I don't believe this. I don't believe that, I've seen the media report things that just aren't true. And so I was pushing back on it, with the whole sign stealing and say, no, there's no way that they sent people on the road to videotape them. No way that they dressed up. Some guy dressed up in a coach, Connor Stein's dressed up in Central Michigan coaching gear to give signs to on Michigan State. So I pushed back on this. And now that it's all in front of us, I'm going to tell you what the legacy is, because I forgot most of this. So I'm going to read this, and Mark, take this in for a second. So in April 2024, this is the COVID cheating, okay? During COVID, you were not allowed to recruit. And some people say it was a hamburger thing. No, they were recruiting when you're not supposed to recruit. In April 2024, the schools put on 3 years probation. So my question is, if they're put on 3 years probation and there's a second violation, why just get rid of that? My challenge is then say, get rid of that. That means nothing. 3 years probation. Jim Harbaugh given a 1-year NCAA ban and 4 years show cause. Okay, we're going to get to the show cause here in a minute. Jim Harbaugh served 3-game suspension at the beginning of the season for this. Jesse Minter, a coach on their staff, got a 1-year show cause. Once again, we'll get into what show cause means because I wasn't aware what it meant. Another defensive back coach, Clint Scale, received a 2-year show clause. So basically, members of the staff, and then the current head coach, Sharon Moore, was involved in that, and he was suspended for the first game of 2023. Now we go to the sign stealing. Stein resigns. He has an 8-year show cause. Jim Harbaugh suspended the final 3 games of the 2023 by the Big Ten. He returned
of the regular season, right? But remember, he was able to return for the Big Ten title game and their run through the playoffs.
Right. And then Chris Partridge, a linebacker coach, was fired in season for destroying evidence. Sharon Moore self-suspended 2 games in 25. This is on top of the 1 suspension already had, 2 games in 25 and now 1 in 2026. And the Wolverines are fined. I've been around college football for, and some people might say because I coached in that rivalry game, but I've said this many times. I've just, from Bo Schembechler to following the Wolverines to the respect I have, this is one that will go down in history books. This is something in my lifetime I've not seen this. I released a statement. People were asking me what to say and all that, and I referred back to a story when I coached a team that were not allowed to play for a national championship, and they lost because they had nothing to do with it. So I agree with it. They shouldn't punish the current players, but I don't know how else you do it. Monetary fine to a university with a very wealthy university, Mark, means nada.
Nothing.
Zero. I took over a program, and I know I'm going to hit it real quick. I was hired in 2011, and this is an incredible story. So Gene Smith called me about coaching the Buckeyes. They just fired Jim Tressel. For you look back now, it was nonsense why that happened. It was players exchanging memorabilia for tattoos. Think about that for a minute. They fired a coach. And there was a thought that they might lose a bowl game and lose scholarships. I hired someone from the NCAA to look into it. They came back to me and said, this looks like it's only going to be probation. And then I asked Dr. Gordon Gee, and Gene Smith, any chance that we're going to lose a bowl game or scholarships, because I wasn't going to take the job. That's usually a death nail. And they assured me, no, I take the job, contract unsigned. 2 weeks later, Gene Smith comes in my office and says, we got a problem. I said, what's that? He said, the NCAA just took 9 scholarships, 9, and that's a big hit. And then also your team cannot go play in a bowl game. They took a bowl game and there's no championship game, et cetera. And the worst thing is every senior could leave without punishment.
Wow.
So I've lived it. The NCAA is no longer an enforcement entity. It doesn't exist, Mark.
Right.
It does not exist.
It does not. It doesn't exist, Coach. Like, you talk about gaining a competitive advantage to help you win a national title, that you are guilty of doing something that gave you a competitive advantage. And all they did was they just have a couple fines, they have a couple show causes, and that's it. Like you said, for a wealthy university like Michigan, you'll write the check 10 times out of 10 to win a national title. You'll write the check 10 times out of 10 to win a national title. So NCAA, previously, we could go back to like USC. We can go back to USC when they had their Reggie Bush gate, whatever that was, right?
15 years ago, right? 15 years ago, it was a 2-year postseason ban, 30 scholarships.
30. Wait,
Heisman.
don't say that
30
quickly.
scholarships.
30 scholarships.
30 scholarships.
USC has not been right since.
No.
Yep. Lost the Natty, lost the Heisman, which has since been returned to Reggie. So that was 15 years ago.
Disassociate with their best player, most prolific
Yes.
player in the history of their program.
Yeah.
They took down the banner, right?
Was that a competitive advantage
No.
that Reggie Bush's family received some funds for housing and
That
whatnot?
did not help them win on the football field.
Right.
So
Well,
when you say
maybe it kept Reggie happy and kept him around campus a little
kept
I
bit.
him
want to hit
motivated.
something. Mark, I want to hit something really hard here that Rob read a quote, and there are a couple of pieces of that quote that I want to hit, and I want to give you something else. There was little, if any, emphasis on following the rules. His program saw compliance as the enemy and made their own decisions. I had 2 other quotes in there that I saw. The compliance directives were rebuked, dismissed, and disregarded by the football program.
Wow.
The compliance directives, that means it's a compliance office, and they meet frequently with the coaching staff. They were rebuked, which means they're turned away. They were dismissed, and they were disregarded by a football program. And then the second part, it's one of the most serious violations that the NCAA have ever witnessed. So I don't know. I mean, there's 2 things that you look at. Number one, there's a lot of players that had nothing to do with this. They will not be penalized. I witnessed it. I just don't know what you do.
Yeah.
What the NCAA did is not the answer.
What is a fair punishment? What would have been a fair punishment?
I've been thinking about this for a lot, and I think financially the coaches have to, when they sign a contract, they have to take the financial hit, not the university.
Wow.
So when you sign a contract, and I don't know, I mean, once again, I don't know.
It's coming out of your bank account.
Yeah, and then
I'm
when
in
you
100% agreement that the players that are currently there should not be punished for people priorly making mistakes. Like, that's what you had to experience, Coach. That's what USC experienced. That's what SMU experienced, having the depth.
Penn State experienced it.
Penn State. So I'm all for not having the players currently punished, but there was losses. I mean, you have wins vacated, you have titles vacated, you have accolades vacated. So for what you have done, the punishment for your actions was vacating the success of that time period.
Well, again, we know the NCAA is toothless at this point, right? This is not their game. They're not here to dole out punishment. This was kind of like their last hurrah, right? And they could have come down hard on Michigan. And if you're a Michigan fan, Mark, give me that beautiful white smile of yours, huh? That's a Michigan fan right there. They're like, thank you. We just paid $20 million for a national title. Every damn day they would do that. Any school would. Well, it doesn't sound like the Michigan way, does it, Coach? Right? And I think there's a lot of people who are very proud of their university, and they should be bothered by this and upset. You know, it's an interesting situation too, because there's a lot of institutions, guys, where if this took place under somebody's watch, the school president, there's firings. You're clearing things out. Michigan right now, they don't have a president. They have an interim president. So now you're going to be eventually bringing in a new boss, and I'll be very curious to see what that new boss thinks about what transpired in this program. And I guarantee you, if Sharon Moore has a rough year or a rough 2 years, they're going to say, you know what, there's systematic issues with this program, and we need to clean things out.
Okay, let's talk about show cause real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Very important. So show cause, what does that mean? I looked it up. I've asked. I've done some research. So a show cause means that if a university, and for the next 14 years, which Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, he's going to win the NFL, and he's not coming back to college. If he wanted to, for some reason, the university would have to meet with the NCAA and show cause why they want to hire the guy, and also make a stand saying, we realize if he does commit another violation, we will be penalized, which to me is bullshit. It's nonsense. Just you're wasting people's time talking about that. You have a current head coach, Sharon Moore, that's operating on a 2-year show cause right now. What does that mean, Mark? That means he has to go to a couple rules meetings.
He's still a head coach.
No, he's going to have to go to a couple rule meetings. I looked it up.
Yeah.
And he's suspended 2 games this year and 1 next year. And
that's after being suspended one a couple years ago.
This is just crazy to me because I was able to go to Michigan and meet with Blake Corum. I met with Sharon Moore. I met with a lot of those people, and I respected them. I do respect them and what they stand for and who they are. So
Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah, and so I appreciated them welcoming me into their building, and I never, thought that the findings of this investigation, I never felt that when I was there. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of Sharon Moore. I'm a big fan of those players there and what they do. But like when you hear what Coach said that the investigators found, like they were rebuking and rebellious against compliance, like
deleting texts,
you completely
avoiding
just
interviews.
Did not follow rules. You just did not follow the rules, and you just got a slap on the wrist for it. They got the national championship. They got their chip. If I'm a Michigan fan, hey, I'm walking. I'm proud. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
that banner's going to look good in Ann Arbor.
Let me put a final stamp, and I'm fairly uniquely qualified to do this because I coached against them. I grew up in the 10-year war with Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes, and I've said this many times that across the country, if you can name someone that respects the Wolverines more than I do, I'd like to meet that person. I didn't say like and all that, and I'm not a fan, but respect, because I knew Bo Schembechler. I read his books. I studied him. When I was hired at Bowling Green, he called me up, and I went and met with him. A lot of things that I did in my coaching style was the Woody Hayes, Earl Bruce, Bo Schembechler, Lou Holtz, that era of coaching. When I coached against the Wolverines, it was every ounce of everything because you knew that team was going to be a trained killers on the other side. When you face the Wolverines, you better buckle your chain strap a little. And this is the same pregame talk I'd give. You better buckle. It wasn't making fun of them. It wasn't because what are you talking about? Are there great players and great coaches there? Yes. Is that an incredible university? Yes. You checks all the boxes. The winningest program in the history of college football. So this has come from someone who knows. I stood on the sideline and faced them. I know many of their alums, Charles Woodson and all those guys. But this is different.
Yeah.
This is different.
Yeah.
I want to wrap real quickly with our thoughts on Coach Harbaugh. 9 years in Ann Arbor, 1 national title, 89 wins, 25 losses, 3 Big Ten championships. When people look back, Mark, at his legacy in charge of the Big Blue, what are they going to say about Coach Harbaugh?
He was a winner.
Bingo.
He was a winner.
Bingo.
Like 89 wins, a national title. He won. Now, say what you want, because the punishment wasn't as significant or severe as it probably could have been, but they got away with it. They're paying money from a very wealthy university, and they got a show cause to a coach who's not coming back to college.
Right.
Their show cause with their head coach right now. He's already employed as a head coach. So pay a little bit of money, and Harbaugh's a winner. He won. He was a winner at San Francisco. He was a winner at Michigan. He's going to be a winner at the Chargers. He's a winner.
Coach?
He's a winner. Now, there'll be an asterisk there. I think this is going to be a couple-week story, and it disappears. I really do.
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room here, boys, though, that no one's talking about. When Jim Tressel was fired at Ohio State and he was given a suspension, Roger Goodell, commissioner of the National Football League, came out and said that we're going to honor that suspension. And you remember he went to the Indianapolis Colts to work in the replay room or something. The Colts, because of the respect they had for the NCAA and the suspension, do you realize suspended Jim Tressel? So he was unable to perform his duties for the first 6 games of the year for the Indianapolis Colts? I think we all know the answer.
Yeah.
Any chance that Roger Goodell and the NFL? Of course not. Yeah. And I don't know why.
That happened prior, right? So they came up with this ruling for Tressel, right? And then he got hired, right? Because Harbaugh went, he's been there, and the investigation was still open. So I'm like,
yeah, I don't know.
Remember, they wanted Harbaugh to come back to Ann Arbor beginning of last season to celebrate the national title, and they kind of backed off on it with the optics, with the investigation going on. But I guarantee you, at that 5-year anniversary, that national title, that 10-year anniversary, there's going to be a good-looking man in khakis strutting into Ann Arbor, and he is going to be embraced and loved, because in the end, Jim Harbaugh got Michigan a national title, and that's all that matters. Coming up, we're going to leave Ann Arbor and head to the rivals' hometown of Columbus, Ohio. Heisman candidate Jeremiah Smith joins the triple option. But up next, we talk Farmageddon in Ireland, which highlights week 0.
Light it.
If you love Wendy's classic Frosty flavors, we have got some big news for you. There are all new Frosty Swirl and Frosty Fusion flavors. So, yeah, it's the same creamy treat that you've always loved, now with a flavor refresh. So what are these new flavors?
well, Stoner, thanks for asking. There are a lot, so I'm just going to list them, okay? We've got the Frosty Swirls, strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel. Then we've got the blended Frosty Fusions, caramel crunch, Oreo brownie with swirl thick brownie batter sauce and crunchy Oreo cookie pieces, and Pop-Tarts, strawberry with a street strawberry sauce and chunks of crazy good Pop-Tarts pieces.
You know your flavors. Not to mention that, yes, you can still get your classic vanilla. Try them all and find your favorite.
Are you going to be a strawberry swirl girl, a caramel craze fanatic, brownie batter buff, Pop-Tart strawberry fanatic, Oreo brownie stay?
These are all really, really good questions, Mark. Anyway, whatever flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. So check in for sweet treat time with Wendy's, all new Frosty flavors. A refresh on a classic? Gotta be Wendy's. We are surrounded by choices. What TV show or movie should we stream? How to pick what football games to watch every Saturday? Man, it can be a lot, Coach.
The same applies if you're a business owner who's hiring. It can be overwhelming to have too many candidates to sort through, but you're in luck. ZipRecruiter now gives you the power to proactively find and connect with the best ones quickly. How? Through their innovative resume database. And right now you can try for free at ZipRecruiter.com/option.
ZipRecruiter's resume database uses advanced filtering to quickly hone in on the top candidates for your roles. 320,000 new resumes are added monthly, which means you can reach more potential hires and fill those roles faster. So it's no wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Skip the candidate overload. Instead, streamline your hiring with ZipRecruiter. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/option right now to try it for free. Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/option. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving.
And your vehicle might not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world. Whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving, the next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver.
The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Rob Urban, Mark back here with you. And each week we're going to tap into the social stratosphere. We're going to find a clip from a coach, a player, a media member, a fan, whoever. And this year we're going to kick it off with a friend of the show, Thomas Hammock, head coach at Northern Illinois. Remember, had that big upset win last season at Notre Dame. Well, he made this passionate statement about the state of the transfer portal, rev share, and the bigger picture of college football last week. Take a listen.
Yeah, to me, I mean, to be honest with you, I love the challenge. You know, it don't bother me one bit because you know what? In life, you're going to make decisions, right? Sometimes it's going to work in your favor and sometimes it's not. I told our team the other day, you know, we lost all these guys. Let's see who plays. So it's all good when people put it on Twitter, hey, all glory to God, I'm going in the transfer portal. Let's see if they play. How many of those guys going to play or travel or get snaps? You know, I was going to tweet something the other day, a picture of me, and say, you know what? I enjoyed my college experience. I didn't get one dime, but the lessons I learned was more valuable than any money you can ever pay me. And I appreciate that because that is long term. People are losing the fact that this is short term. I coached in the National Football League for 5 years. 5 years, right? Don't lose focus of what the long term. Get your degree, learn valuable lessons that's going to help you in the long term of your life. That's the whole purpose. This is a transition from being a kid to a grown-up. And I hope people don't lose focus of that. Everybody's talking about everything else besides what is the most important thing for going to college. Because if you're going to college to go get a couple dollars, you might as well go get a job. This is too hard to go get a couple dollars. Learn the lessons that you need to learn to be successful in life for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. I would do it again for free, because of the things I learned. That's why I'm standing here today, because of what I learned in college, not because of how much somebody gave me. That's what I would tell people. And parents, they need to learn that lesson too. Stop trying to live through your kids. Go teach your kids what are the things they need to learn to be successful. That's what I'm telling my kids. I don't care about no NIL, no revenue share. I can care less. You need to learn things in college to get you prepared for life, to be a father, a husband, to work, everything else. Those are the most important things. That's what people are missing, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
I'll send my kid to Northern Illinois. I'll let him play for Coach Hammock.
You know, he was on our program last year, and he's always been one of my favorite guys. And that's one that, you know, I've heard a lot in my career. That's one of the greatest lectures I've ever heard.
Yes.
It's with 100% sincerity. It's 100% accurate. So over 3,000 people, Mark, I think it's over 3,000 players hit the transfer portal. The media.
Coach,
yes.
third straight year that over 3,300 players went into the portal.
And so the residual damage, and I've talked to people, I don't want to sound like that old guy that, man, what about this? Because there's some great stories, you know, from Dylan Gabriel to Howard at Ohio State winning the national title. So there's so many great stories. But what about the ones, and 40% of those 3,000 don't end up anywhere because they've received really bad advice. You know, we witnessed a guy leaving Tennessee and going to UCLA for, you know, we're going to see how that story plays out. So I grew up in I talked about it earlier when we talked about the Wolverines. I grew up in the Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, and Earl Bruce, Lou Holtz era, and it was always about education. And I'm going to say this and hand it off to Mark because I'm very passionate about it. That's why we did those Real Life Wednesdays. A job in education can't solve all problems, but a job in education can solve all problems. That's what I tell the players that move on and are misled and for some reason go astray without the ability to get hired become our problem down the road because we have to help. I mean, it is what it is. So a job in education, that's the ultimate responsibility of a university. I don't believe it is anymore.
Yeah, Coach. I disagree with Coach Hammock. I thought it was an amazing lecture, like you said. I think people are losing the fact of why do we love sports? Why do we love college? It's because it teaches you life lessons. It teaches you values and principles that will help you be a better person be a better husband, be a better father, be a better asset just to our community, right? And I think people get so infatuated with the short term, like how much money can I get right now? And yes, like it is a good thing that players are getting paid. I do like that players can get paid and get for their likeness, but at the same time, it shouldn't be everything that you're focused on. You should be focused on where you could be to be the best version of yourself. People are so infatuated with just getting instant gratification right now. Like, no, there's something that happens. There's something that happens to you as an individual. You have to compete for a spot. And when you earn that spot because you competed for it and you worked hard for it and you earned it, like there's something about that. And it translates directly into life. Everyone that plays college, you're not going to the NFL. Like I don't know what the percentage is. I think high school athletes, only about 7% make it to college sports. And then from there, about 2% of those make it pro. So we need to continue to worry about what's important here is developing these young men, these young women to be great citizens in our world, being assets to our community. And that's overcoming adversity. That's learning how to work with people. That's learning how to communicate with people that don't look like you and knowing your role into being the best you could be to help whatever company or team that you're a part of. So I love the speech from Coach Hammock, and I think it directly resonates. I think a lot of people need to listen to it.
Time now for Crossroads, presented by NHTSA. Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over, paid for by NHTSA. NHTSA, their messaging is always on point and really appreciate it, especially with the big Labor Day weekend coming up. All right, so this offseason, there have been a lot of developments off the field, all based kind of around a couple of things, commissioners trying to position themselves and their conference in the best light, the future of the college football playoff format, TV deals, smaller conferences fighting for their spot in the college football landscape, rev share, right? There's a lot going on. But let's talk about where these current conferences are real quick as we head into the 2025 season. And we're going to talk about the four big conferences and then Notre Dame. Let's begin at the home of the last two national champions, the Big Ten. They have 3 teams in the top 10, 6 in the top 25, back-to-back national titles from that conference, coached for the first time since the 1940s. If you are the Big Ten, where are you big picture in college football right now?
You're number one. And I never thought I would really say that again in my lifetime because I was in the SEC from 2005 and 06 is when the SEC started the run. We won the national championship in 06, won it again in 08. LSU won it, and then Mark Ingram went through it. And
yes, sir.
It was, to be honest with you, when I went to the Big Ten in 2012, it was not close. It was not close. The Big Ten, even at the top of the conference, was not as good, near as good. I don't believe, but it's amazing to say that the Big Ten has surpassed the SEC the last 2 years, certainly at the top of the conference. But also, you look at Illinois' win. You look at, I still think top to bottom, the SEC's bottom is stronger. But when you add Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA, I know they added Oklahoma, Texas, but you see, and I've seen it in the Big Ten. The stadiums are different, Mark. The talent is certainly different. It used to be the SEC has so many players drafted, the Big Ten way down here. Now it's very close.
Yeah.
So the recruiting is picked up, the coaching is picked up, the stadium environment is picked up. But I'm going to say this about the SEC. They get pissed off real quick down there. They're going to want to get that title back. So I'm anxious to watch this year.
Mark, what do you feel about the Big Ten right now? I think there's 3 national contenders sitting in that conference, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. And I think the success the last couple of years, Mark, from that conference has got the programs like Indiana and Illinois, Michigan, obviously, Nebraska. That chest is sticking out a little bit more. I think they're walking a little stronger around campus these days. The Big Ten is back in a big way.
Yeah, they're believing, and they have shown it. The success that the Big Ten teams have had last year in the postseason, the success that the SEC kind of had lack thereof last year in the postseason. The Big Ten is walking with their chest out. They have the last 2 national champions. Penn State is kind of trying to follow that regime of what Ohio State, Michigan did. So
Yep.
the Big Ten is in a good place. You add Oregon, you add Washington, you add UCLA, you add these teams to a conference, adds depth to the conference. The Big Ten's in a good spot, man. Coming from an SEC boy, I know the Big Ten. All those guys are walking around in the Midwest with their chest out. As they should be right now,
with their overalls on.
Yeah.
All right. So prior to the Big Ten's 2-year run, the SEC had won 4 straight natties, and 13 of the previous 17. They have 4 teams in the top 10, and mark 10 programs inside the top 25. The SEC's mindset right now is what?
They trying to prove that they still the most dominant conference, and they feel that they are the most dominant conference from top to bottom. They probably have the more depth than the Big Ten, in my personal opinion. And they coming with it. The South ain't happy. That's what they do in the South. They live for that football, man. They live to be on top. They feel like it's football country in the South, and it is. And man, I just went to Alabama last week, man, and I'm telling you, they are out there and they are competing at a high level in practice. So I know people want to talk this or talk that. I know Alabama got a chip on their shoulder right now. Ain't nobody talking about them really. They got some respect in the rankings, I guess. Yeah, I know Texas, they feel like they got what it takes. They were in the semifinal the last 2 seasons. So I feel they think they got what it takes to get over the hump. Georgia, their pedigree of winning the last few years. Alabama, their pedigree. Then you got South Carolina, you got LSU, you got all these teams, man, that feel like they have a shot, that they can get over the hump and get back to the playoffs and get back to the national title. So the SEC is still an extremely strong conference, and they should be respected as such. But they won't shut everybody up until they go and have that postseason success that they're accustomed to having.
I think those SEC meetings in Destin, Florida this year, Coach, must have been interesting because they know that they've lost the last 2 natties. They've known what their dominance used to be, and the Big Ten has taken it from them. For some reason, listen, I know the head coaches care about their program, and to an extent, they obviously care about the conference. But I think as a collective, whether it's Sark or Coach Kelly, I think they're all kind of coming together and like, hey, boys, let's get the band back together. Let's hit the road, right? Let's
tell you,
let's sell out big stadiums.
The guy, Sankey, Greg Sankey, who's a friend of mine, a terrific guy. We've had him on our show. He is as competitive as SOB as there is. So I guarantee that meetings. I've sat in those meetings, and I'm sure they are. It's a collective group. And you look who's in that room, the teams in that room, the fan base is in that room. I still say the SEC, top to bottom. When you start thinking of the 8 now, Texas and Oklahoma, 10 schools that are expected to compete for a national championship, the Big Ten's still not that way. They don't have 8 to 10 teams that are expected to win championships, but they certainly have done it the last couple of years.
Texas, first time in their history, ranked number 1 in the preseason.
What?
Remarkable.
In history?
First time they've ever been ranked number 1. I'd be stunned if I think 4 from the SEC are guaranteed to go to the college football playoffs. Texas, LSU, Georgia, probably Bama. Wouldn't be surprised if.
Damn, you're already throwing picks out there, Rob?
I know. I'm already thinking like a Florida, a South Carolina. We love what Lenore Sellers is. They might surprise some folks. So let's talk about the ACC real quick. 2 teams inside the top 10, 3 in the top 25. Again,
Clemson and who else?
Well, that's kind of the conversation this season,
who else,
right?
Please,
Clemson, who else? Like, was SMU a flash in the pan? Can they sustain themselves? Can Florida State build themselves back up? Miami, what are they going to be without Cam Ward? Bill Belichick is in college football with Carolina. I think the ACC is fascinating, but they need Clemson week 1 to show out big time against LSU when they host. By the way, next week, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney joining us on the triple option. I think Clemson needs to kind of elevate that whole conference and remind the Miamis and Florida States, hey, guys, you're supposed to be up here with me. Hey, Virginia Tech. Hey, NC State. Hey, Carolina. Let's go. There's a lot that we're going to learn about the ACC. But the conference I'm really high on right now, and I have been for a while, the Big 12. It is our let me. All right, I'm turning a page right now. Our great researcher at Fox, Adam Z. He gives
Shout
us
out Z-Man.
We love the Z-Man. He gives us this massive college football manual, right? And he breaks down conferences. And I just wanted to read how he broke down the Big 12, right? Most talented rosters / legit playoff aspirations. This is from the Big 12. Arizona State, which won it last year. Kansas State, Texas Tech, all right? Just those three. Could absolutely win this crazy-ass conference. Iowa State, TCU, Utah, high upside, low floor teams, Baylor, Kansas, falling back to earth, BYU, Midtown. Finally, we mentioned Coach Prime in Colorado, Cincinnati, Arizona, Houston, Rich Rod back at West Virginia, UCF hosting North Carolina in week 4. Then the issues that were Oklahoma State last year, are they able to turn things around? The Big 12 is wild. 6 to 8 programs, I think, could win it all. They have 4 teams that enter the season in the top 25. They're trying to work themselves up that pecking order. I have so much respect for the commissioner, Brett Yormark.
Yes, we do.
What he has done. They're kind of modernizing things. They signed that conference deal with PayPal.
Yep.
They're going to release injury reports in an effort to quote unquote modernize. I know where the Big 12 sits right now. They're fighting to be that number 3 conference. And there is a lot of money being invested in college football by their alums. Watch out for the Big 12. That's all I'm going to say. Just
Texas Tech put that big money out there, didn't it?
Big money, Mark Ingram. Big money. I can buy a lot of tortillas down there in Lubbock. And then the last one to talk about, and Urban, will hit it with you because you used to coach there. Notre Dame won a program record 14 games last year en route to that run to the national title game, ranked 6th in the country. And as long as they keep doing what Notre Dame typically does, they should be in the college football playoff just about every season. They have a slot
built for them, Stoner.
Right? Isn't that insane?
They have the conferences and they have their own slot built for Notre Dame. So as long as they play decent, they will be in that slot. Like, proven they don't.
They have a hell of a coach in Freeman. They have a guy, he's built for Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman. Here's the thing: is they open up at Miami and then home against Texas A&M. That's unusual that used to be the schedules, but Notre Dame has in recent years not had those tough ones early on. They got to replace a quarterback. There's also a guy that left, Al Golden, the D coordinator of Notre Dame, who I've always had great respect for him. He did a hell of a job, man. Notre Dame's defense was legit. With players, obviously, but Al Golden did a great job. He's gone. They brought in my former assistant, Chris Ash, was the head coach at Rutgers, was our D coordinator to run the defense. I did a interview or a podcast or something like that, Blue and Gold Illustrated, a couple of days ago, and he was kind of filling me in. Expectations are extremely high. They do have a new quarterback. I don't believe they named him yet. But look for Notre Dame to be standing at the end. They'll be one of the top 12 teams in that fight in the play. They'll be in the playoff.
Are you guys ready for week 0, by the way? 0. That's how beautiful college football is. We now start at 0. No, who needs week 1 is so passé. It's so far down the line. We start at week 0, and we have a ranked matchup in week 0. Saturday, it's coming away from Ireland. Number 22, Iowa State. Number 17, Kansas State. K-State favored by about 3.5. Big 12, as we mentioned, wide open, and it has been wide open the last couple of years. They have had 5 different conference champions in the last 5 years. The 109th edition of Farmageddon in Ireland. Potatoes, beware. How do you think starting the season with a conference game impacts your program, Coach?
I've done it a couple of times, and it's actually awful. I mean, it's like, the intensity level picks up, and whether you're opening with a conference game or like Ohio State playing Texas, you have to stop pounding on them 2 weeks before that game. So you have to jump in. But here's the thing that's different, Mark, than back when you played and I coached, is they have OTAs all summer now. So you remember, you used to show up in late July, early August, and you're just lifting weights. And the first time you were out there organized with the ball and all, they're doing that all summer. So it's not quite as it's much different than it was when we played. However, 2 weeks prior to that first game, the pads either are coming off or it's pretty close to coming off, because you can't be beating up those players. If you're opening up with a 3-game easy slate, it's a much different attitude. But as you get ready for a conference game, those 2 teams, that's must win already.
Yeah, must win,
because those are 2 really good programs.
Yep.
But reality is, for them to make the playoff, they got to win this game.
Yep. And like we said, with this new college football playoff format, you win your conference, it's an automatic bid. So that puts a tremendous amount of significance on this opener, because you lose this game, you go one back in that race to get the automatic bid. So,
we talk about the importance of this game. They start in Ireland against Kansas State, come back home, have South Dakota, and then they host Iowa, and Big Noon Kickoff will be there at that game. So that is a big start for a wide open conference, in Iowa State. Ton of success last year. Will they be able to carry it over? And the opening game of the year is your treat of the week, presented by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Frosty Fusions with flavors like Caramel Crunch, Oreo Brownie, and Pop-Tarts Strawberry. All right, time now for 3 and Out. Top 3 players that we are most excited to see this upcoming season. Coach, we start with you. You're big 3, and I got a funny feeling you're going to have a Buckeye on your list.
Yeah, Julian Sain was just named starting quarterback. He's an Alabama transfer. And how the hell that happened, Mark, I don't know. But the minute he walked on campus, I started hearing about him. They talked about the ball jumps out of his hand. I stood next to him, watched him throw on one of the games we were there. He's very slight. He's not real big. I'm anxious to see how the strength staff's developed him, because he was not very big. But he's also throwing to the best player in the last decade in college football, in Jeremiah. But they also have Carnell Tate. They also have some loaded receiver room again, the job that Brian Hartline's done. New quarterback, 2 new coordinators, but the one guy I want to really see play, and we're gonna see it early and in person, and that's quarterback Julian Sain. Second guy is DJ Lagway. I'll tell you what, you need to watch that Netflix. It talks about him. I've done some due diligence on him, asking some people up at Florida. He did all that as a freshman, and the jump you make between your first and second year is incredible. And he played great his freshman year. So I think this is a year the Gators are back, baby. You watch, Mark. The Florida Gators will be back. And then finally, Bryce Underwood. I think I read somewhere that he is not named the starter, which is shocking to me. If that's the numbers that I've seen that they paid that player, the quarterback for the Wolverines, and not be starting. But he's a guy that I watch high school film on, and he has it all. So I can't wait to watch him play.
Mark, your big 3.
My big 3, I got to start with the RB. You know what I mean? I got to go with number 1, Jeremiah Love, just a straight baller. A huge reason why Notre Dame made it to the college football championship game last year. Man, he had over 1,100 yards. He had 17 touchdowns, also a threat out of the backfield. I'm extremely excited. He's the number 1 running back in the country on my list, coming back in college football, and I'm eager to see how he balls out again and gets better from an amazing season he had last year. Number 2, got to go to Tuscaloosa, to the Roll Tide. I got to go with Ty Simpson. We talk about this new day and age NIL, and I respect Ty Simpson. He stayed, he's learned, he's waited, and now he has his opportunity to go out there and prove his worth and what his value to this Alabama team, because Alabama's trying to get back to prominence. They're trying to get back to the top of college football. You can't do that without a great quarterback. And so Ty Simpson has his opportunity. He's been having a great offseason. He's been named the starter. And so I'm excited to see what he does this year. And then last but not least, the man that we have it on the show here coming up very shortly, I'm going with the wide receiver 1, Jeremiah Smith. He was a straight baller, a freshman phenom, just a straight dog out there, 15 touchdowns as a true freshman, over 1,300 yards receiving, just a mutant, a specimen, an alien out there at wide receiver 1. So super excited. We get to see him week 1 going against Texas. And and we get to have him on the Triple Option podcast here next segment. Let's go.
He's coming up next, and he is a huge name in college football. But guys, the biggest name in college football this season, and he only needs one name, Arch. It's all about Arch Manning, baby. Finally gets to take it over, the number 1 spot at Texas after backing up Quinn Ewers for the last couple years. Last season threw for almost 1,000 yards, did have a couple starts, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. Remember, he's got deceptive legs, 4 rushing touchdowns as well. The last Texas player to win the Heisman Trophy, Mark Ingram, was Ricky Williams. Back in 98.
Wow.
Back in 1998, could Arch Manning bring the Heisman back to
Wow.
Austin? Clemson, they bring back 16 starters, including their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, over 3,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 picks, also ran it for 7 scores. He has what many consider to be a top 3 wide receiver room down there at Clemson. They've got a manageable schedule. Maybe Cade Klubnik becomes Clemson's first Heisman Trophy winner. And all aboard the Nuss Bus, baby. Garrett Nussmeier, LSU's quarterback, most passing yards, over 4,000 last season by any returning quarterback in the country. 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Got to cut that down. Ran it in for 3 more scores. He's a coach's kid. Like, everybody loves a coach's kid. His dad, Doug, is the offensive coordinator at your former program, the New Orleans Saints, Mark Ingram, and he is the projected number 1 quarterback in next year's NFL draft. So those are the 3 guys that we're really excited to see in week number 1.
Saints gonna tank for the Nuss?
They're going to tank for the nuts. We'll have to come up with a better line than tank for the nuts. All aboard the Nuss Bus. One of the players that Mark just hit and the whole country is excited to see again, Jeremiah Smith. He joins us next on the Triple Option, presented by Wendy's.
Light it.
Welcome back to the Triple Option. We are now joined by the Big Ten receiver of the year last year, a freshman All-American last year, a national champion last year. This year, he is a preseason All-American and the teenager. That's right. He's still a teenager that most say is the best player in college football, Ohio State wideout. Jeremiah Smith joins us right now. Jeremiah, man, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. But real quick, I want to go back just a couple days ago, right? This was like a Goldberg-type entrance for you, walking into this mall with security guards all over you, going in for the signing and the picture. Take me through this scene that is your new world order. This is your reality in Columbus these days.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That's probably the most people I've seen at one time. No, just going to the dits, walking in, and I see the whole store surrounded by me and everything. It was just a surreal moment for me.
Yeah, man. So you got thousands. You got a whole student section, half the horseshoe in the store for your autograph signing.
Yeah.
You made the NCAA cover. You're the best player in college football. You're up for the Heisman. You're up for the Biletnikoff. You defend the national champion.
That's right.
Tell me, man, what has it been like, all this attention and outside noise, man? How you been handling it?
I've been handling it very well. I come from humble beginnings. I don't let all that stuff get to my head. I just focus on the main thing, and that's football and the team. So I don't let all that, all the awards I'm up for and all the hype around my name. I just want to focus on the team and focus on ball.
Hey, Jeremiah, thanks for joining us. When I grew up as a Buckeye, and when I got hired there, I don't know if they still have it in the meeting rooms. I had the fat heads of all the great players. Your position group. Do they still have that in your receiver room?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So when I say the names like Chris Carter, David Boston, Joey Galloway, Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin, Olave Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., arguably the greatest program as far as they call it, wide receiver U. What kind of, is that pressure or do they support you? Is it like a brotherhood, or tell me what it's like to be part of that group?
It's very special to be part of that room. Like you said, all the guys that came before us. So I feel like each day, every week that we play a game, I feel like we obligated to go out there and perform at a high level, because them guys, they did it each week they was here. So I feel like I'm obligated to go out each and every day and perform at a very high level.
What did you work on this offseason? What were some of your priorities? I know diet was a big part of it.
Yeah, diet. But really, just become a student of the game, get a better understanding of the game. Last year, being a freshman, a lot of things thrown at me real fast. You really think you know ball, but you really don't. So I'm just out there not even playing as fast as I need to. I'm just out there reacting, not really playing fast. But this year I got a better understanding of what's really going on.
Give me an example of something you picked up in the offseason that's going to make you better.
This offseason? No, just understand the coverages. That's the main thing, really. I play receiver, so I got to understand what they're trying to do. So that's really the biggest thing for me.
Jeremiah, it's not that difficult to take away a great player. Just put 2 guys on them. And you have Carnell Tate, you have Brandon Ennis, You know, you lost 2 good running backs last year. So I think when I had Mike Thomas, I thought Jalen Marshall was as important as Mike Thomas because you can tilt the field one way. Tell us about Carnell Tate and Ennis and the receiver room, because other than you, these guys are not household names yet.
Man, them guys, I feel like this year they go shock a lot of people, especially Carnell. I mean, that guy there, he could do any and everything that you ask him to do. Very smooth route runner, could block, could do it all. Brandon the same way. He got that dog in him. So I feel like this year, I mean, our room is very special. I feel like it's better than last year because we,
Come on,
all could do different things. I feel like that's what I think.
Did you tell Emeka that yet? Is he aware of that?
I just texted it to him, so I told him.
Jeremiah, man, you from South Florida, man. Went to school at Chaminade. How did they get you out the South, man? You up there at Ohio State? It's cold up there, man. How they get you, a South Florida boy, to come all the way up to Columbus and deal with that cold weather, man?
I don't know. I feel like when I first came up here for a visit, I feel like this was home for me. I fell in love with the program, day one. Like Coach Hartline, Coach Day, like they always, supported me and always call and check on me. My dad loved it up here. My whole family loved it. My uncle, everybody. So I just, just the right place for me. And I wanted to get out of the state of Florida as well because there's too many distractions down there. So I just want to go somewhere where I just focus on ball and school.
We won a couple championships, 3 of them, and then it always felt like the year after, especially in 14 and 08, we had so many returning players. The pressure, not only on the staff, but I felt it with the players. Do you feel that in the locker room? Do you feel like anything other, because you kind of get that mindset that we got to win it again, and damn, it's hard to win it. And do you feel that pressure yet?
I think a little bit. I feel a little bit. I feel like everybody think we need to go back to back. But that's something that's on our mind as well. I think we want to be the first team to ever do that in the Big Ten. That haven't been done since I think the 1960s. I think the last team I did was Michigan State. So I feel like I think it's very pressure that we trying to go back to back.
Is that national title shown all around the offices right now, or we've already moved on, have we?
Yeah, we moved on. I mean, it's a new team, new year, so we just got to make a name for ourselves this year. That was last year's team. We got to make a name for ourselves for this year's team. Coach
Day finally named quarterback number 1, Julian Sayin, getting the nod. Break down Julian's game and what you're expecting from him this season.
I'm expecting Julian to just go out there each and every week and put on a show. I mean, Julian's a smart player, smart quarterback, can make any and every throw. A student of the game, and I just can't wait to see the things he do this year.
Favorite restaurant in Columbus?
Favorite restaurant in Columbus?
Come on, man.
It's a pint house. It's a hint.
Wow.
Favorite restaurant.
Have you been to the Urban Meyer Pint House yet?
I haven't, no. I haven't.
Okay. I'm not going to talk to you anymore then, Jeremiah.
No, where is that? That spot with the fried lobster tail. Where
the Hyde Park? Hyde Park.
Hyde Park.
I don't really like Hyde Park. I like no, you can say Hyde Park. I'll go Hyde Park. Yeah, Hyde Park.
What about Jeff Ruby's?
I
like Jeff Ruby's too. I like both of them. I like both. Can't go wrong.
Have you had the fried lobster there though? Is the question.
At
Hyde Park.
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, you like lobster?
I love lobster.
Then you need to go there and get the fried lobster.
Okay. All right.
I'll put you on.
You gotta try.
One thing, man, I saw some that you were doing an interview, man, and you were explaining. So I coach youth football. My son's 7 years old, just started tackle football, and you told the story about when you were 6 years old and your coach came and told you got cut.
Yeah.
So can you share that story with us, and also what you would tell a youth athlete who is being overlooked at this point in time at their 6, 7, 8 years old?
Yeah, so it was just a typical day. Going to practice, stretching and everything. Coach pulled me to the side. He just like, you off the team. And I was like, okay. And I just walked away and went to my dad and told my dad. And my dad didn't get mad, nothing. He didn't get mad about nothing. Just that day after, I just was working out each and every day till next year, and I made the team. And what I tell a kid that's getting overlooked, I mean, don't take it too personal. Just keep your head down, just keep working because there's better days ahead.
Hey, Jeremiah, when I say the team up north, what hits your heart?
Hate. With everything in me, I hate them.
Yeah.
How did you learn that?
Seeing you.
How did you learn that?
Were you not there at the last game?
Yeah, I hate them. You said when I learned that high school recruiting. First came in, I think I made a mistake, and I was wearing like dark blue.
Oh
yeah, I was wearing dark, and it was Coach Hartline and Coach Keenan Bailey. And it was like, you can't wear them colors here. And then from that day forward, I was like, okay, yeah, it's real.
Do you guys ever hear the stories when the Colts or the Bills would show up to watch practice? They weren't allowed to wear their. I made them wear like scarlet jackets at practice.
What? No, I never heard
all day.
You mentioned Coach Hartline. I know he had a big part in your recruitment. Now he's the offensive coordinator. What looks different? What feels different about the offense this year in Columbus?
We got a lot of energy. I mean, that's one thing I realize. Offense bring a lot of energy. Everybody just flying around, just want to make plays. Not to really change our scheme wise, but I mean, we just a lot of energy.
3rd and long, gotta have it. What's your go-to route? What's your go-to play? What you going with?
My go-to route, I gotta go ball. From the field.
Up top.
They still call them inside nines?
Inside nines, yes, sir. Yep.
On flooding levels?
Flooding levels, yes, sir.
Now, I gotta know, man.
I won't give any more on that one.
I gotta know, man. You obviously you the top of the food chain, wide receiver. Y'all doing one-on-ones. What DB comes over there and gives you the toughest reps in training camp and one-on-ones?
To be honest with you, I don't think I even did one-on-ones this whole camp.
You on their rep count, I'm telling you, Coach. Stick this one out.
I'll say, I can't say it was for one. I'll say all them boys give me good work.
No, that's all right, man. They sit you out. We trying to build confidence. We don't need you. We don't need you messing their confidence up before the season.
We talked about the pedigree and the history of that wide receiver room at Ohio State. What have you done now that you've matured? You're a sophomore right now. What are your responsibilities for taking care of that whole room?
Just being a leader, going out each and every week, and just putting on the show because the guys before me did it. So I feel like I have to do the same thing, and yeah, that's all.
When did you guys start preparing for Texas? How far back?
I say probably last week. Yeah. So last week, this week we've been on them. So yeah, we've been on them for sure.
What do you think about starting your season in one of these epic matchups of blue bloods, Texas and Ohio State?
Yeah, I feel like it'll get us ready, throughout the whole season. We just need that first big game. I feel like that'll help us, later in the season, in the playoffs and everything like that. So I feel like it's very good for us. We need that.
All right, man. You've had a lot of big plays, man. You went for over 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. What's the loudest stadium moment you felt so far? Tell me the play. Paint the scene for us, dog.
You said stadium?
What, like the loudest moment that you've heard a stadium, your favorite play, paint the scene. Like the play it was, the loudest you heard the stadium after you made the play. What was it?
National champ game.
Gotta be, national championship game, 3rd and 11. Yeah, gotta be that one.
3rd and 11.
3rd and 11.
What was the route?
Go ball.
Go ball.
Ball to the field.
3rd and long, gotta have it.
Yeah. How often are you pushing for the go ball?
Oh, I'm pushing for it, probably 2-3 times out the game, but gotta take our time, especially in this game coming up. They don't really let everything get behind them. They keep everything in front of them. So we gotta just be patient, and when it's time to take our shots, we gotta hit them like Coach Day says. So gotta be. Prepared.
Mike Thomas would call for the go ball 2 or 3 times a series.
Real? Okay.
I say Mike
wanted that ball, man, for sure. Mike wanted that ball.
For sure.
No, but man, we appreciate your time. We know you're busy, and one of the things we do on the show, man, is we've been firing questions at you for the last 10 minutes. If you have a question for any one of us, man, go ahead and shoot it to us, man. And we like to give our guests that opportunity to fire a question back.
I got one for you, Mark.
All right.
You won the Heisman and everything like that. Had hype around you at Alabama and everything. Successful. Like, how did you block out all the notes? I think I do a pretty good job at it, but how did you handle all of it?
Man, the same thing you said, man. I felt like we were relatable with what you said, just coming from humble beginnings. The way my parents brought me up, I always kept what was important to me, the main thing, and that was my family. That was God. That was making sure I was doing the best that I could do to help my team win championships and win games. And all the outside noise, it was just conditional, because when you did good, they praise you. When you did bad, they try to tear you down. And so I didn't want to be involved with nothing conditional. I stayed focused on what mattered to me the most. I wanted to be the best football player that I could be. I wanted to be the best person to ever carry the football. As high as those expectations were, that's what I strived for. That's what I pushed for every single day. So as long as I did that, I kept my focus on my family, God, football, and being the best person that I could possibly be. All the outside distractions didn't matter because it was all conditional to me anyway.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Sir, no problem. Anytime, bro.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Jeremiah, have a great season. Can't wait to see you week 1, Ohio State and Texas live on Fox, man. Have a great season, Jeremiah. Thanks for the time.
Sir, thank you.
For sure.
Before we head out, Buckeye fans and those Longhorn fans traveling into Columbus next week, want to let you know that on Friday the 29th, we encourage you to swing on by the tailgate tour at the Riverwatch Tower near the Ozone on Lane Avenue. It is free for all guests. There will be music. There will be top-tier tailgate food and a live episode of The Script with Ohio State legends Cardale Jones and Beanie Wells. They will be joined by Texas legends Mac Brown and Vince Young. RSVP for more info on the event, and you can find it at tailgatetourOhioState.rsvpify.com. And next week, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney joins us ahead of that massive game with LSU. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media. We can be found at 3X Option Show. As always, thanks to our wonderful sponsors, Wendy's, ZipRecruiter, FanDuel, NHTSA. Enjoy the football here on week 0, and we will talk to you next week ahead of week 1.